This is Unit 4 lecture. The topic for Unit 4 is business level strategy. At the end of the lecture and tutorial, you should be able to define business level strategy, discuss the relationship between customers and business level strategies in terms of who, what, and how, explain the differences among business level strategies, use the 5 forces of competition model to explain how above average returns can be earned through each business level strategy, and describe the risk of using each of the business level strategies. The opening case that is in the 12th edition of the textbook speaks to Starbucks, which is the case that we used for Unit 1. And it is saying that Morning Joe in the afternoon in China, India, and beyond, the new Starbucks. So with the 2008 global financial crisis and competitors like McDonald's gaining market share, consumers were less willing to pay the high prices for premium coffee, leading to a reduction in store sales for the first time in Starbucks history. Starbucks appeared to be unable to control the quality of the experience and began losing its differentiation advantage. So the CEO, Howard Schultz, closed 900 poorly performing stores in the United States and refocused on innovation. So by 2011, with the 40th anniversary, a new logo, innovations such as Via, which is the single cup coffee maker, and customers paying for their purchases with their iPhones, environmental consciousness, employee health insurance, and a global focus on emerging markets such as China and India, Starbucks was once again differentiating itself. So business level strategy, how to compete in a specific industry. A business level strategy is an integrated and coordinated set of commitments and actions the firm uses to gain a competitive advantage by exploiting core competencies in specific product markets. It is the core strategy, and every firm must form and use business level strategy for each one of its businesses. Business level strategy choices matter because long-term performance is linked to a firm's strategies. So you may have one business level strategy or several business level strategies. A firm may have one business level strategy or several business level strategies. One business level strategy is used for a single product market or a single geographic location, where the firm is employing one business level strategy and one corporate level strategy, and they're identifying what or which industry the firm will compete in. A diversified firm employs a separate business level strategy for each product market area in which it competes, and one or more corporate level strategies dealing with product or geographic diversity. Core competencies and strategies. So what are core competencies? We had looked at that in Unit 3, and resources and superior capabilities that are sources of competitive advantage over firm rivals are what core competencies are, while the strategy is an integrated and coordinated set of actions taken to exploit the core competencies and gain competitive advantage. The business level strategy now is providing value to customers and gaining competitive advantage by exploiting core competencies in individual product markets. So some of the key issues in business level strategy are: who will be served, what needs will be satisfied, and how will these needs be satisfied. So in order to operate effectively with your global competitors, then the firm needs to be adept at identifying customer needs across cultures and geography. They also need to quickly and successfully adapt products and services to meet those needs. So we could think back to Unit 1 again when we looked at Starbucks and how they had to adapt to the European market by doing the cafe type stores, and even the Chinese market when they had to offer tea as well as coffee, because the Chinese are tea drinkers. So we look at here the generic strategies that are used, and it relates to the 5 forces of competition, the value chain activities that we did in the previous units, risks for each strategy, effective structure of each strategy, and we use all of these to apply them to an organization or an industry. Satisfying customers is the foundation of successful business strategies. So you have to manage your relationship with customers. We look at reach, richness, and affiliation, who will be served, what needs will be satisfied, and how these needs will be satisfied. So how do we effectively manage relationship with customers? We look at reach, and reach is access and connection to customers. Richness now is the depth and detail of the two-way flow of information between the firm and the customer, and the affiliation is about facilitating useful interactions with customers. Now, market segmentation is a process used to cluster people with similar needs into individual and identifiable groups. Consumer markets and industrial markets are the two main markets that firms target, and consumer market is the finished goods that is sold to us, regular consumers, while industrial markets are the companies that need to be supplied with their raw material, equipment to produce the goods and services, the products that will be sold in the consumer market. So consumer markets consist of demographic factors such as age, income, and sex, socioeconomic factors such as social class, stage in family life cycle, geographical factors which includes cultural, regional, and national differences. Then we have psychological factors that are lifestyle and personality traits. Then we look at consumption patterns, whether it's heavy, moderate, or some customers may be light users. Then we look at perception factors, which benefit the segmentation or the perceptual mapping that firms will do to figure out how maybe customers perceive their products or they perceive the customers. For the industrial market, we looked at end-use segments, product segments based on technological differences in production economies, geographical segments which are defined by boundaries between countries and by regional differences within them. And then we have common buying factor segments that cut across product market and geographic segments. And then we have customer size segments as well. So how do we determine which customer needs to satisfy? Customer needs are related to a product's benefits and features. Customer needs are neither right nor wrong, good or bad, they're just needs. Customer needs represent desires in terms of features and performance capabilities of the product. And successful firms learn how to deliver to customers what they want when they want it. Because, needless to say, customers are the lifeblood of a firm. So how do we determine core competencies necessary now to satisfy the customer needs? Firm use core competencies to implement value-creating strategies that satisfy customer needs. Value means goods or services that provide either low cost with acceptable features or highly differentiated features with acceptable cost. Only firms with capacity to continuously improve, innovate, and upgrade their competencies can expect to meet or exceed the customer's expectations across time. So, what customers need has to match with the target group of customers. So now we will turn to look at the business level strategies themselves. So business level strategies are intended to create differences between the firm's position relative to those of its rivals. To position itself, the firm must decide whether it intends to perform activities differently from their competitors or perform different activities as compared to its rivals. Business level strategies are deliberate choice about how the firm will perform the value chain activities to create unique value. So we look at, again, at Southwest competitive advantages that rivals are unable to imitate because they have tight integration among their different activities, they use the cost leadership strategy, and they have a unique culture and customer service. So this is just a map of all the different things that Southwest do and integrate so that they can exploit their core competencies in their business level strategy. So I'll just look at a few of them. They have limited passenger service, limited use of travel agents. Then they use a standard aircraft, the 737, Boeing 737. They have no connections with other airlines. They compensate their employees very well. They have high craft utilization, very low ticket prices, and that kind of a thing. So all of these capabilities and competencies are what Southwest uses to do their business level strategy. What are sources of competitive advantage? One is achieving lower overall costs than rivals. This is in the cost leadership strategy now. Performing activities differently, reducing process costs, providing a low-cost product that customers deem as acceptable, and possessing the capability to differentiate the firm's product or service and command a premium price. Also performing more highly valued activities. So we look now at the 5 generic business level strategies. They are cost leadership, differentiation, focused cost leadership, and focused differentiation. And finally, there is an integration of the leadership, cost leadership strategy and the differentiation strategy. And that is what makes up the 5 different strategies that businesses use. So as we go along, we will look at them in more detail. What are target markets? So we have broad target markets and we have narrow target markets. Broad target markets is where firms serving a broad market seek to use their capabilities to create value for customers on an industry-wide basis, competing in many customer segments. A narrow market segment means that the firm intends to serve the needs of a narrow customer group, tailoring its strategy to serving them at the exclusion of others. The effectiveness of business level strategies. None of the 5 business level strategies is inherently or universally superior to the others. The effectiveness of each strategy is contingent upon external opportunities or threats and also the internal strengths and weaknesses of the firm. A successful business level strategy must match external opportunities, threats, with internal strengths, that is its core competencies. So what is the cost leadership strategy? It is an integrated set of actions taken to produce goods or services with features that are acceptable to customers at the lowest cost relative to that of competitors with features that are acceptable to customers. They are usually relatively standardized products. They have features acceptable to many customers, and they are sold at the lowest competitive price. As it relates to value chain activities in the cost leadership strategy, the value chain analysis identifies the parts of the firm operations that create value and those that do not. A competitive advantage in logistics creates more value for a cost leadership strategy than for a differentiation strategy. So we have inbound logistics and outbound logistics. Inbound is the materials handling, the warehousing, and inventory control, while the outbound logistics is collecting, storing, and distributing the products. The cost-saving actions of the cost leadership strategy includes employing process innovations that facilitate efficient production and distribution methods, building efficient scale facilities, tightly controlling production costs and overheads, minimizing cost of sales, research and development and service, building efficient manufacturing facilities, monitoring costs of activities provided by outsiders, and simplifying the production processes. So as it relates to the value chain activities in the cost leadership strategy, we see that along the value chain, the primary activities in the value chain, we start with the supply chain management. Then these are effective relationships with suppliers to maintain efficient flow of goods or supplies for operations. Then we go over to operation now, where in the cost leadership strategy, they build economies of scale and efficient operations, example, production processes. For distribution, they use low-cost modes of transportation and delivery times that produce the lowest cost. For marketing, they use targeted advertising and low prices for high sales volumes. And for follow-up service, they are efficient in their follow-up service to reduce returns. Now for the support functions, finance manages financial resources to ensure positive cash flow and low debt costs. HR develop policies to ensure efficient hiring and retention to keep costs low. Implement training to ensure high employee efficiency. And management information systems now is about developing and maintaining cost-effective management information system operations. So in the cost leadership strategy, the goal is always to reduce the cost or have all their production and support activities be at the lowest cost possible so that they can also sell their products for the lowest cost. So after doing a value chain analysis, where a firm will look at what is working and what is not working, the firm may decide to reconfigure the value chain for cost advantage. This is done by making sure that they have cost-effective management information system, few management layers, simplified planning, consistent policies, effective training, easy to use manufacturing technologies, investment in technologies, finding low-cost raw materials. They also monitor their suppliers' performances. They link suppliers' products to production processes. They operate at economies of scale, efficient scale facilities, effective delivery schedules, low-cost transportation, highly trained sales force, and proper pricing. They may further decide to reconfigure to include or alter their production processes, change in automation, which means that they may automate some functions that were done by persons previously. They may have a new distribution channel, new advertising media, direct sales in place of indirect sales, may get new raw material, may also decide to either forward integrate or backward integrate. We will look at those in Unit 5. They may also change location relative to suppliers or buyers. The strategic focus of cost leadership strategy, we'll look at an example of Walmart. So Walmart, dollar stores, and Amazon. Who is buying whose lunch? So Walmart deviated from its cost leadership strategy designed to take market share away from Target by introducing organic foods, remodeling some stores, and reducing the variety of products offered, thereby increasing prices on some goods. Recognizing its mistake, Walmart has refocused on low cost and prices, increased its product diversity, and is opening 40 new express stores. Will Walmart be able to recapture its cost leadership position in the market after giving it up to rivals? Well, I think the answer is yes, because Walmart is still the biggest retailer in the world, I think. As it relates to competitors in the cost leadership strategy, we look at rivalry with existing competitors. So due to cost leaders' advantageous position, rivals hesitate to compete on the basis of price. The lack of price competition leads to greater profits, and rivalry must be based on factors such as size, resources, location, market dependence, and prior competitive interactions. So a cost leader, it is very difficult to really compete effectively with a cost leader because they operate at a low cost and therefore they're able to sell their products at a low cost as well. As it relates to the bargaining power of buyers, the cost leader can mitigate buyers' power by driving prices far below the competitors, causing them to exit the market, or the industry, thus shifting power back to the firm from buyers of other firms. Powerful customers can force a cost leader to reduce its prices, but not below the level where the next most efficient industry competitor can earn above average return. So it will not be below your closest competitor prices. As it relates to the bargaining power of suppliers, the cost leader can mitigate suppliers' power by being able to absorb cost increase due to low cost position. So because they operate at such a low cost and they have a high margin when they're selling their goods, so if their suppliers raise prices on them, they can absorb it. Being able to make very large purchases, reducing chance of suppliers using power. And also the cost leader can outsource to reduce cost, and this may also require relationship building, particularly to a foreign supplier. As it relates to the threat of potential entrants, the cost leader has the advantage of the barriers to potential entrants, as their need to enter on a large scale in order to be cost effective. So the new firm would have to enter on a large scale in order to be cost effective. The time it takes to move up the learning curve would be difficult also for the new entrant, and the efficiency of cost leaders through continuous efforts to reduce costs enhances profit margins and serve as a significant entry barrier. Product substitutes. Now the cost leader is well positioned to make investments to be the first to create substitutes themselves. So we use the example of Grace and Caribbean Choice. So they created a substitute themselves. They also buy patents developed by potential substitutes. The lower prices in order to maintain value position, and they may be more flexible than its differentiated competitors. There are risks associated with the cost leadership strategy. Most of the competitive risk, where processes used to produce and distribute goods and services may become obsolete due to competitors' innovations. Also, too much focus on cost reductions may occur at the expense of customers' perceptions of differentiation. As well, competitors using their own core competencies may successfully imitate the cost leader's strategy. We will now look at the differentiation strategy, which is an integrated set of actions taken to produce goods or services at an acceptable cost that customers perceive as being different in ways that are important to them. The differentiation strategy focus is on non-standardized products. It is appropriate when customers value differentiated features more than they value low cost. Firms must still be able to produce differentiated products at competitive cost to reduce upward pressure on the price that customers pay. Firms seek to be different from competitors on as many dimensions as possible. Differentiation approaches include unusual features, responsive customer service, rapid product innovations, technological leadership, perceived prestige and status, different taste, engineering design, and performance. We will also look at the value chain as it relates to the differentiation strategy. So along the primary activities of the value chain, we see that under supply chain management, the differentiation strategy will develop and maintain positive relationship with major suppliers, ensure the receipt of high quality supplies in terms of raw materials and other goods. For operations, they manufacture high quality goods, develop flexible systems that allow rapid response to customers' changing needs, and under distribution, they provide accurate and timely delivery of goods to customers. In terms of marketing, they build strong positive relationships with customers, invest in effective promotion and advertising program. They also have good follow-up service. They have a specially trained unit to provide after-sales service and ensure high customer satisfaction. The support activities in the value chain now for finance, they make long-term investments in development of new technology and innovative products, in marketing and advertising, and in the ability to provide exceptional service. For human resources, they recruit highly qualified employees and invest in training that provides them with the latest technological knowledge and the capabilities to provide breakthrough services. For management information systems, they acquire and develop excellent information systems that provide up-to-date market intelligence and real-time information in all areas relevant for strategic and major operational decisions. So we will see the stark differences between how the value chain activities function along the cost leadership strategy, with the cost leadership strategy as opposed to the differentiation strategy. Reconfiguring the value chain for distinctiveness and not just for low cost as in the cost leadership strategy. So cost differentiation is more about creating value. So the differentiation companies using the differentiation strategy have highly developed management information system. Their emphasis is on quality. Worker compensation is another emphasis of theirs. The use of subjective performance measures, basic research capability, up-to-date technology, high quality raw materials, good delivery of products, high quality replacement parts, superior handling of incoming raw materials, attractive products, rapid response to customer specifications, order processing procedures are important to them, and customer credit. And they also build personal relationships. If they would like to reconfigure the value chain even further for distinctiveness, then whereas cost leadership targets a specific industry, differentiation creates value by distinguishing products and services. A firm must consistently upgrade differentiated features that customers value and or create new valuable features without significant cost increases. This creates sustainability through customer perceptions of distinctiveness, customer reluctance to switch to non-distinctive products as well. So we will apply the 5 forces to the differentiation strategy, starting with rivalry with existing competitors. Now, the relationship between brand loyalty and price sensitivity insulates a firm from competitive rivalry. Reputation can also sustain the competitive advantage of firms following a differentiation strategy. Bargaining power of buyers. Now, the differentiated firm can mitigate buyers' power because well-differentiated products reduce customer sensitivity to price increases. Customers are also willing to accept a price increase when a product satisfies their perceived unique needs, as long as they do not think that an acceptable product alternative exists. As it relates to the bargaining power of suppliers, the differentiated firm can mitigate suppliers' power by absorbing price increases due to high margins from high-quality components. Alternatively, considering buyers' relative insensitivity to price increases and their brand loyalty, firms may pass along higher supplier prices to the buyer. For the threat of potential entrants, there are substantial barriers to potential entrants. Customer loyalty and the need to overcome the uniqueness of a differentiated product. Also, new product must surpass proven products. New products must be at least equal to the performance of proven products, but offered at lower prices. The differentiated firm is well positioned relative to substitutes because brand loyalty to a differentiated product tends to reduce customers testing up new products and customers switching to new brands. Just like cost leadership strategy, the differentiation strategy comes with risks. One is price differential, where between the differentiators and the cost leaders, product becomes too large. So the cost leaders product is very cheap and the differentiated product is very expensive. So the gap is very wide. Value may also be diminished. The differentiation ceases to provide value for which customers are willing to pay. Just as well, experience a narrow customer's perception of the value of the differentiated features. Goods replicate differentiated features of a firm products may also be a risk because, as we know, there are many big brands that have counterfeit options that look the same and look like the same quality material as well. So those are some of the risks of the differentiated strategy. Let's turn our attention now to the focus strategies. Now, the focus strategies are both cost and differentiation. So there's focus cost and focus differentiation. So they are discussed together. So the focus strategy now is an integrated set of actions taken to produce goods or services that serve the needs of a particular competitive segment. The target markets for focus strategy include a particular buyer group, example youths or senior citizens. They have different segments of a product line, and it could be products for professional painters or do-it-yourself group. And also they may be marketing to different geographical markets. So you're looking at the northern or southern Italy by using a foreign subsidiary. So types of focus strategies are focus cost leadership strategy, and then you have the focus differentiation strategy. To implement a focus strategy, firms must be able to complete various value chain activities in a competitively superior manner in order to develop and sustain a competitive advantage and earn above average returns. Factors that drive the focus strategy are that large firms may overlook small niches. A firm may lack the resources needed to compete in the broader market. A firm is also able to serve a narrow market segment more effectively than its larger industry-wide competitors can. Also, focusing allows the firm to direct its resources to certain value chain activities to build a competitive advantage. A firm focuses on a niche market, adding value by leveraging the value chain activities that allow value creation through the cost leadership strategy. The competitive advantage is low cost, and the competitive scope is that it is a narrow industry segment. For focus differentiation, the value chain may be analyzed to determine if a firm is able to link the activities required to create value by using the focus differentiation strategy. The competitive advantage is differentiation, and the competitive scope is the same, narrow industry segment. The risk associated with focus strategies is that a focusing firm may be out-focused by its competitors. So a competitor could narrow down a niche market some more, and it would cause problems for you. A large company may decide that the market segment served by the focus strategy firm is attractive and worthy of competitive pursuit. So then you have other companies coming into the same market. Changing preferences now. Customer preferences in the niche market may change to more closely resemble those of the broader market. So those are some risks associated with the focus strategies. So the integrated cost leadership and differentiation strategy, as it says, is an integration of the cost leadership and the differentiation strategy at the same time. This now efficiently produces products with differentiated attributes. So the efficiency is the source of low cost, and the differentiation is the source of unique value. It readily adapts to external environmental changes, concentrates simultaneously on two sources of competitive advantage, which is cost and differentiation, and the competence and flexibility required in several value chain activities is important. The three sources of flexibility useful for this strategy are flexible manufacturing systems, information networks, and total quality management systems, and we look at those. The flexible manufacturing systems is really computer-controlled processes used to produce a variety of products in moderate flexible quantities with a minimum of manual intervention. So it's highly automated. The goal is to eliminate the low cost versus wide product variety trade-off. It allows the firm to produce large variety of products at relatively low cost. Information networks now link companies electronically with their suppliers, distributors, and customers. It facilitates efforts to satisfy customer expectations in terms of product quality and delivery speed. It improves the flow of work among employees in the firm and their counterpart suppliers and distributors. It also requires customer relationship management. Total quality management emphasizes total commitment to the customer through continuous improvement using problem-solving approaches based on employee empowerment. The benefits are that it increases customer satisfaction, comes at a lower cost, and it reduces time to market for innovative products. Now, the TQM system helps firms maintain competitive parity, but by itself, rarely will it lead to competitive advantage. The risk associated with the integrated cost leadership and differentiation strategies is that they may have a situation where they are stuck in the middle. The strategy, although it is gaining in popularity, it is very risky. So products do not offer significant value in terms of either low cost or differentiation. And also the stuck in the middle can be that they may be putting too much emphasis on the cost or too much emphasis on the differentiation, and really the strategy may not effectively work for the company. So the cost structure for stuck in the middle, the cost structure is not low enough for attractive pricing of products, and the products are not sufficiently differentiated to create value for target customers. And the result may be that you do not earn above average returns. So in summary, we looked at business level strategy, we looked at cost leadership and differentiation. We also applied the Porter's 5 forces to both the cost leadership strategy and the differentiation strategy. We looked at the focus strategies and the integrated strategies as well. We also looked at the risk associated with each of these strategies. So what you need to do now is to go and read the chapter in the textbook, complete your tutorial sheet, and come to tutorial prepared to participate and have discussions about the topic.